Hello everyone. Welcome to Stoic Wisdom Today. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, how much could my life truly change if I dedicated just 1 hour every day? 1 hour that is fully mine, fully focused, fully purposeful. Not an hour lost to endless scrolling on social media. Not an hour spent passively reacting to the noise around you or numbing yourself with distractions. But one sacred, sharp, intentional hour devoted purely to crafting the future self you dream of becoming. It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? Like a secret hidden in plain sight. But the simplicity is the very deception most people fall into, believing that transformation requires monumental efforts, drastic change, or instant miracles. Yet, the greatest loss in life rarely comes from grand failures or sudden catastrophes. Instead, it slips away quietly. In the small, daily decisions we fail to notice, the excuses we tell ourselves, the postponements, the moments we trade for comfort over growth. Today, we're going to explore a powerful philosophy that true greatness isn't born in chaos or drama. It is forged through discipline, day after day, one focused hour at a time. Together, drawing from the timeless wisdom of thinkers like Socrates, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, Plato Nietzsche, Carl Jung, Jim Rohn, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, we will uncover how consistent, small acts of dedication have the power to reshape your life. Mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. Because time itself isn't your enemy, distraction is. And when you reclaim just 1 hour a day, your first, your most precious hour, you reclaim everything. Imagine that all the strength, clarity, success, and peace you desire are not hidden behind a secret formula or some life-altering event, but behind one single hour of intention, repeated day after day with relentless focus. Most of us stand at the base of our dreams, overwhelmed by the climb ahead. We tell ourselves, maybe someday I'll be ready. Maybe someday I'll have time. But mountains aren't conquered by sprinting to the top. They are climbed one step at a time, today, tomorrow, the next day. One deliberate hour every day. That is where destinies are built, not in the spectacular, but in the silent, invisible acts of discipline. As Jim Rohn famously said, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. It's not an overnight revolution of your entire life, but a slow, steady investment into the future you say you want, the person you want to meet in the mirror. Because here's the truth. You are either investing in that future self every day, or you are drifting further away from them. Part 1. The quiet trap of busyness, losing yourself in noise. Socrates, the ancient philosopher, warned us about a dangerous illusion. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Filling your hours with endless tasks, notifications, and reactive behaviors often buries you under the false appearance of progress. Think about your day. How many times do you fill your schedule to the brim, moving fast from one thing to the next, yet feel at the end that you haven't moved forward at all? The truth is, 1 hour of conscious, focused effort, whether learning, creating, healing, or refining, is worth more than 10 hours of chaotic busyness. But why just 1 hour? Because an hour is enough. It is long enough to break through resistance, to engage deeply with your goals, and yet short enough to remove every excuse. 1 hour doesn't ask for your entire day. It asks for your priority, your respect, and your decision to carve out a sacred space where your dreams stop being background noise and become your main focus. Imagine what would happen if every day you invested 1 hour intentionally moving your body, truly caring for your health, 1 hour nourishing your mind with deep study, real learning, and growth. 1 hour attending to your spirit through meditation, reflection, and gratitude. 1 hour sharpening your craft by building, creating, and refining your skills. Stack those hours, day after day, and you will not simply change your habits. You will rewire your destiny. But this comes at a price. It demands consistency, discipline, and the willingness to face boredom. The willingness to show up without fireworks, without applause, and without immediate validation. 1 hour a day doesn't look dramatic, it looks almost invisible. Yet this is the birthplace of all powerful transformations, quiet, patient, and relentless. Ask yourself now, if I had started this 1 year ago, where would I be today? And more importantly, where could I be 1 year from today if I start now? Because the future is not made in grand declarations. It's made in small, decisive hours stacked on top of each other until they build a life so solid and unshakable that people call it destiny, when in truth, it was always choice. Part 2. Own your first hour, the foundation of every day. Consider this. How many battles are lost before they even begin simply because the first hour of the day was given away without a fight? Most people don't realize the first hour after waking is not just another block of time. It's the foundation, the mental operating system you install for your entire day. If you stumble into your morning distracted by your phone, notifications, and chaos, you are not starting your day. The day is starting you. You are not leading your life. You are being led by it. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote to himself amidst the chaos of empire, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." This is the mindset of someone who owns their first hour. It's not about routines for the sake of checking boxes. It's about setting a tone of gratitude, focus, and deliberate presence before the world has a chance to pull you into its storms. Because if you don't claim your first hour, the world will. It will flood it with noise, demands, and distractions. You'll be thrown into reaction mode before your feet even hit the floor. Once you start your day reacting, it's almost impossible to reclaim it. You no longer act from vision, you act from survival. One notification at a time. Henry David Thoreau captured this cost beautifully. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. When you give your first hour away mindlessly, you're not just losing minutes, you're trading your most potent energy, clearest thoughts, and freshest willpower for things that usually don't deserve them. You pour your best self into the void of urgency, distraction, and shallow noise. But it doesn't have to be this way. Owning your first hour is a radical act of self-leadership. It sets an anchor of intention before the tides of the day pull at you. It can be simple, a few minutes of reflection, reading a powerful page from a book, a calm, unhurried breakfast, writing down your priorities before touching a screen, moving your body to remind yourself you're alive, meditating to clear the static before it builds. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be elaborate, but it must be yours. Because once you own the first hour, you build momentum, mental momentum, emotional resilience, clarity, a feeling of self-respect that carries you into every conversation, every challenge, every decision. The opposite is true too. Start your day scattered, reactive, overstimulated, and you carry jittery, distracted energy into everything. Often, it's not the big failures that destroy your progress. It's hundreds of tiny misaligned choices made from a restless mind that never had a chance to center itself. Ask yourself, how do I currently spend my first hour? Am I preparing for battle or wandering into it unarmed? Because if you lose the first hour, you lose the rhythm. You lose the chance to set the tone. But if you win it, if you protect it, guard it, honor it, the rest of your day becomes a reflection of that victory. Start strong, start sovereign, start awake. Guard your first hour like a sacred treasure. Imagine waking every morning knowing this hour will shape the tone of your entire life. It's not just another hour, it's a portal. A sacred window between who you were yesterday and who you have the chance to become today. Part 3. Ruthlessly protect your time and mind, while many fiercely guard their money, opinions, and schedules. They often leave their most valuable time, the first hour of their day, exposed and vulnerable, open to distractions, incessant noise, and the demands of everyone but themselves. Seneca warned us long ago, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." This is the condition of a scattered mind, pulled in 10 directions before the sun rises. Imagine waking up and your mind is immediately assaulted by emails, messages, news alerts, social media notifications. Your attention fractured, your clarity shattered before you've even stepped out of bed. Instead of moving through the day as a focused force, you drift like a leaf blown by unpredictable winds. Guarding your first hour means treating it as priceless, because it is, open to distractions, incessant noise, and the demands of everyone. But this hour is when your mind is at its clearest, your energy most malleable, your soul open to intention before the world tightens its grip themselves. It is a delicate, powerful space, a sanctuary that must be protected from the mindless flood of distraction, not filled with notifications, meaningless emails, bad news, or shallow entertainment. Plato reminded us, the beginning is the most important part of the work, not the middle or the end. Beginnings carry momentum. They imprint the emotional signature that colors everything that follows. When you defend the beginning of your day, you defend the entire arc, not only of your day, but eventually of your life. How do you protect this hour? You become ruthless. You create boundaries as a kingdom guards its gates. No social media, no reactive conversations, no scrambling through chores or obligations. Instead, you move intentionally. You build a ritual that honors your mind, body, and mission. Maybe it's reading something that sharpens your thinking. Maybe it's movement that energizes your body. Maybe it's silence that centers your spirit. Whatever it is, it must feed you, not deplete you. Because every unguarded first hour invites 1,000 invisible hands to pull you off course. And once you lose your center, you spend the rest of the day trying to find it again, often through caffeine, distraction, or sheer willpower, which only drains you further. Guard it, defend it from urgency, protect it from noise. Treat it as the foundation of your mind, the tone of your spirit, and the compass for your decisions. Once you learn to protect this hour, something powerful happens. You begin protecting your life with the same seriousness. Ask yourself, if my first hour shapes my entire destiny, would I still give it away? Because in truth, it does. It always has. The only question is whether you'll finally guard it like it matters, because it matters more than you realize. Part 4. Move with purpose, direction before action. Have you ever sprinted through a day only to realize you were running in circles? How often do we mistake busy motion for meaningful progress? There's a pride people take in being busy, checking tasks, rushing from one obligation to the next. But without direction, motion is noise. Without clarity, effort is exhaustion. You can pour out all your energy, all your time, and all your talent and still end up nowhere you want. That's why direction must come before action. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, spoke this truth with piercing simplicity. First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Before you move, before you grind, before you chase after 100 little tasks, decide who you want to become. Define it. Name it. Build a vision strong enough to filter your actions. Because if you don't, the world will use you for its own ends. You'll find yourself running after goals that don't belong to you, fighting battles you were never meant to fight, measuring yourself against standards you don't even believe in. Exhausted, disconnected, wondering why success feels hollow even when you win. Underscore, direction brings meaning to effort. It is the why behind the what. It's the difference between chasing every opportunity and choosing the ones aligned with your path. Between reacting to life and creating it. Friedrich Nietzsche captured this beautifully. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. When your why is clear, hardship does not break you. Discomfort does not deter you. You endure the how because you trust where it's taking you. Every step, even the hard ones, is woven into the fabric of the life you are consciously building. How do you move with purpose? You pause before you act. You ask, is this action aligned with the person I'm becoming? Does this bring me closer to my vision or push me away? You become selective with your yes, disciplined with your no. You stop confusing movement with progress. You stop thinking busyness equals effectiveness. At first, it will feel slower. You'll say no to things others chase. You'll walk away from distractions disguised as opportunities. You'll spend time thinking before doing, but in the long run, you'll move faster because every step will be a line. Every hour will compound. Every effort will build toward a life that feels like yours. Underscore Part 5. The power of 1 hour of learning. What if the life you dream of isn't waiting at the end of some massive leap? What if it's hidden in the quiet hours you dedicate to learning? In a world obsessed with instant success and overnight transformations, it's easy to forget that the most powerful force for change is accumulation. A little knowledge, a little wisdom, a little sharpening of the mind, day after day after day. Not glamorous, not flashy, just steady, deliberate growth, 1 hour at a time. Jim Rohn, whose philosophy helped shape millions of lives, said, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. School teaches you to survive. Self-education teaches you to thrive. It's the foundation of every great achievement. Every quiet success story you admire but rarely hear about. And it's not just financial fortune, it's internal wealth. The kind that comes from knowing how to think critically, solve creatively, and navigate life with insight instead of impulse. Ralph Waldo Emerson added his own reflection. The mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions. Underscore, every idea you wrestle with, every book you devour, every deep conversation you engage in, it stretches you, expands your understanding, strengthens your ability to face challenges you haven't even met yet. Imagine spending 1 hour a day intentionally feeding your mind, reading a book that challenges your thinking, studying a skill that sharpens your career, listening to a lecture that shifts your perspective, writing reflections that deepen your... Over a week, that's 7 hours. Over a month, nearly 30. Over a year, over 365 hours of conscious, focused self-construction. It compounds. One insight connects to another. One small shift in thinking leads to a massive shift in behavior. 1 hour of learning can save you years of trial, error, and needless suffering. Underscore. Most people won't do it, not because they can't, because learning feels slow and invisible. There's no immediate reward, no instant applause. It requires patience, a willingness to trust that today's effort will unlock tomorrow's doors. Meanwhile, the world offers endless distractions: entertainment, gossip, scrolling, noise disguised as information. And every hour spent consuming mindlessly steals time from the life you could be building. So the question isn't, do I have time to learn? The real question is, what will happen to my life if I don't? Ask yourself honestly, if I gave just 1 hour a day to deep, meaningful learning, where could I be in 6 months? In 1 year? In 5 years? The answer is simple. You would not recognize yourself. Not because life got easier, because you got stronger, sharper, wiser. Underscore. Part 6. Practice over theory. Become what you repeat. How much of your life is spent thinking, dreaming, or planning, but not doing? It's easy to fall in love with ideas, to feel intelligent when you understand the concept. When you read a book or attend a seminar, ideas matter. Theory matters. But here lies the great divide, the real transformation. The difference between those who only dream and those who actually achieve is found in practice. Life doesn't reward what you know. Life rewards what you do with what you know. Aristotle, one of the greatest thinkers in history, captured this with timeless clarity. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. You could read hundreds of books on strength, but until you train your body, your strength remains theoretical. You could study leadership endlessly, but until you step up and lead in difficult moments, your leadership is imaginary. You might understand mindfulness perfectly, but unless you practice it under stress, noise, and pressure, your calm is hypothetical. Underscore. Don't let learning just lead to knowledge. Jim Rohn echoed this warning with equal weight. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let it lead to action. Because information without application becomes mental clutter. It tricks you into feeling like you're evolving when, in reality, you're merely accumulating potential that never manifests. Practice is the bridge between potential and reality. It is in the daily, imperfect, often frustrating attempts to apply what you've learned that real mastery is born. It's in falling down, getting up, adjusting, and trying again. It's in moving from the safe, controlled environment of ideas to the messy, unpredictable terrain of real life, where nothing is clean and nothing goes exactly as planned. Here's the part most people miss. Practice is humbling. It exposes gaps you didn't know existed. It forces you to confront the distance between who you think you are and who you actually are when under pressure. But this confrontation is sacred. It's how you close the gap. It's how you stop living in your head and start living in the world. So, how do you make sure your learning turns into living? Simple. Every time you consume an idea, ask yourself, where will I practice this? How will I put this into motion today? Don't just finish the book. Apply one principle. Don't just agree with the podcast. Embody one insight. Don't just nod at the wisdom. Act on it until it reshapes your reflexes. Because the person you admire, the version of you who is stronger, calmer, and more disciplined, is not built in theory. They are built in repetition, in practice, in the quiet, unseen moments where you choose application over admiration. Ask yourself now, what piece of knowledge have I admired but not practiced? What small step can I take today to bring it into reality? Because you don't rise to the level of your theories. You fall or rise to the level of your practice. Part 7. Reflect, refine, repeat the cycle of growth. How many opportunities for growth have you missed simply because you were moving too fast to notice them? In a culture obsessed with hustle, output, and constant motion, reflection is often treated like a luxury, something you do when everything else is done. But here's the truth. Without reflection, repetition becomes stagnation. Without taking time to study your own footsteps, you can walk in circles for years, busy, exhausted, yet fundamentally unchanged. Socrates, speaking across millennia, warned us the unexamined life is not worth living. He was not speaking merely as a philosopher. He was issuing a survival strategy for the soul. Because without examination, without pause, without honest confrontation with yourself, you don't grow, you drift. You recycle the same mistakes under different disguises, wondering why you feel stuck. Every hour you invest in yourself deserves a follow-up question. What did I learn? Where did I get stronger? Where did I fall short? Reflection turns experience into wisdom. It extracts meaning from action. It transforms random efforts into deliberate evolution. Carl Jung deepened this insight when he said, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." Reflection is not passive nostalgia. It is an active, powerful tool for recalibration. And after reflection comes refinement. Because the goal isn't just to notice, it's to adjust. You study what worked and do it better. You study what failed and build smarter strategies. You take every mistake, every setback, every awkward stumble, and instead of labeling them as defeats, you turn them into teachers. Then, and this is where most people fail, you repeat. You don't reflect once and move on. You reflect, refine, and repeat relentlessly. Like a craftsman sharpening a blade. Like an athlete studying game tape. Like a Stoic philosopher wrestling with their own flaws each night before sleep. You build your excellence not in a single moment of insight, but in a continuous humble cycle of noticing, improving, and trying again. Reflection becomes a habit. And here's the magic. When you live this way, when reflection becomes as natural as action, your growth stops being episodic. It becomes inevitable. Ask yourself now, when was the last time I truly examined my efforts, my habits, my inner dialogue? What would change if I made reflection and refinement part of my daily life, not just a rare moment of crisis? Because without reflection, you risk living on autopilot. Without refinement, you risk building habits that harden into prisons. And without relentless repetition, you risk mistaking motion for mastery. Reflect, refine, repeat. That is the real grind. That is the true art of becoming. Part 8. Prioritize health, your true wealth. What's the point of building an empire if you're too weak, too sick, or too exhausted to enjoy it? It's easy to sacrifice health in the name of ambition. To tell yourself, I'll get back in shape once the business stabilizes, once deadlines ease, once life calms down. There is only the body you are building or breaking today. Your body is your foundation. Marcus Aurelius, amidst the relentless demands of ruling an empire, reminded himself the body ought to be treated more rigorously, that it may not be disobedient to the mind. He understood what many forget. Your body is not merely a vehicle. It is your first line of defense, your foundation, the vessel through which all your ambitions, visions, and strength must flow. Neglected, and everything else eventually collapses. Jim Rohn echoed this modern truth. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. You can rent houses, rebuild businesses, change careers, but you cannot trade in your body for a new one. This is it. The health you protect now determines the energy, clarity, resilience, and joy you'll have access to in every future chapter of your life. Underscore. And yet, health is often the first thing sacrificed. Sleep is traded for productivity. Nutrition is ignored for convenience. Movement is postponed for more important tasks. But what could be more important than the system powering every single thing you do? Your dreams demand stamina. Your vision requires a vessel strong enough to carry it. That strength is not built by accident. It is built by daily, often unglamorous choices. By moving your body, even when you don't feel like it. By feeding yourself nutrients instead of numbing yourself with junk. By treating rest as an essential part of high performance, not a weakness. Underscore. The transformative power of 1 hour. 1 hour a day dedicated to your health can change everything. Not just your physique, not just your mind, but your emotional stability and your resilience under pressure. Because body and mind are not separate. A weak, sluggish body creates a foggy, reactive mind. A strong, energized body sharpens the mind into a weapon of focus, creativity, and presence. Here's a truth that hurts to hear, but saves lives when understood. If you don't make time for wellness, you will be forced to make time for illness. It's not a possibility. It's a guarantee. Ask yourself, if I treated my health like the sacred asset it is, how would my life look different 6 months from now? How much more energy, patience, clarity, and joy would I carry into every other area of my life? Because wealth without health is bankruptcy in slow motion. Success without vitality is just a prettier form of suffering. Because your future self strong, sharp, vibrant, is depending on the decisions you make today. Part 9. Financial independence. Quiet work builds loud freedom. Have you ever wondered why some people quietly build wealth while others loudly struggle for it? It's not luck. It's not just intelligence. It's discipline. Intentional, quiet, focused work done when no one's watching. When distractions are low. When your mind is clearest and your ambitions sharpest. Underscore. Voltaire gave us a timeless insight. Work spares us from 3 great evils: boredom, vice, and need. But not just any work, intentional work. Quiet, focused, strategic work done when the world is sleepy. Jim Rohn sharpened the lesson even further. Profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living. Profits make you a fortune. Wages are important. They pay the bills. But if you want to step beyond survival into freedom, you need to build something bigger than your paycheck. You need to invest, create, build assets that work for you even when you're not working. The mistake most people make is waiting for free time. They wait for the perfect conditions to start that side project, that investment study, that skill building journey. But the truth is, the free time you're waiting for is already here, hidden in the quiet hours you're wasting. That's all it takes to start rewriting your financial story. 1 hour spent learning about investments instead of mindlessly consuming entertainment. 1 hour developing a skill that compounds over time into a second income. 1 hour building a business, a portfolio, a brand, a future that doesn't depend on a boss or paycheck. It won't feel urgent until one day it is, until the job disappears, until the unexpected expense arrives, until the dreams you shelved start gathering so much dust they suffocate. Freedom built in quiet hours. In that moment, you'll realize freedom was never built in grand decisions. It was built or lost in how you spent your quiet hours. Here's the beauty. It's never too late to start. The world is louder than ever. Distractions are endless. But there is always an hour tucked somewhere between waking and sleeping where you can reclaim your future. And if you stack enough of those hours quietly, patiently, intentionally, they turn into something louder than words. They turn into ownership, they turn into sovereignty. They turn into a life where you don't just make a living, you make choices. Ask yourself, what am I doing with my quiet hours? Am I investing them into a future of freedom or wasting them into a future of dependence? Because every hour matters. Every small choice counts. And 1 year from today, you'll either be grateful you started or wish you had. Stack your hours, stack your legacy. Part 10. Build a legacy hour by hour, choice by choice. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to build lives that others admire, while others spend decades busy, yet never fulfilled? It's not talent alone, it's not luck, it's accumulation. Small, deliberate actions stacked one on top of the other, day after day, year after year, until they form something undeniable, something unbreakable, something called a legacy. Ralph Waldo Emerson captured this perfectly when he said, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." Legacy is not about following what's easy. It's about carving out a path so distinct, so personal, so earned that others look at it and know someone lived here with intention. But this kind of life, that kind of mark, is not created by inspiration alone. Not by bursts of motivation or occasional effort. It's created hour by hour. One disciplined decision, one quiet sacrifice, one small victory at a time. Jim Rohn's wisdom drives this home. Either you run the day or the day runs you. Every hour you don't consciously claim stacks itself against you. Every hour spent reacting instead of building, distracting instead of focusing, postponing instead of moving, compounds silently into regret. Compound your momentum, but every hour you own, every hour you pour into your health, your mind, your craft, your financial independence, your relationships compounds. Too, it compounds into momentum, into mastery, into memories, into milestones no one can ever take from you. The hidden secret of an hour. Here's the secret most people miss. They underestimate the power of an hour because the effects are not immediate. You invest an hour today and tomorrow. Look around and see nothing changed. So they quit. They tell themselves it's not working. They choose short-term comfort over long-term transformation. The reward of persistence, but those who persist, who trust the invisible compounding of effort, wake up one day and realize the life they once dreamed of, the person they hoped to become, the impact they thought was impossible, is here. Not because of a miracle, because of a method. Because they stacked their hours like bricks, building something permanent while others chased shortcuts. The quiet discipline of legacy. Because legacy is not a burst of glory at the end of life. It's the quiet discipline of how you live every day, starting now. So ask yourself, what am I stacking today? What invisible habits am I reinforcing? Will my future thank me for what I'm building or beg me to start over? Your life is being built always. Because your life is being built whether you're conscious of it or not. You are always stacking something. The only question is, are you stacking regret or greatness? Stack your hours. Stack your excellence. Stack your legacy hour by hour, choice by choice, until the world has no choice but to recognize the quiet empire you built with your own hands. When you step back and look at the life you're building, it's not shaped by grand moments of inspiration. It's shaped by what you choose to do or not do with the small, quiet hours no one else sees. The hours that seem ordinary, the hours that seem forgettable. Those are the ones that decide everything. 1 hour a day is not a suggestion. It's a key to your future, your peace, your strength, your freedom. Destiny is written daily, because destiny isn't written in a day. It's written daily, in how you rise and how you choose to begin, in what you protect, prioritize, and pour yourself into without needing applause, without waiting for permission. The people you admire didn't stumble into greatness. They stacked their hours. They guarded their mornings. They moved with direction, not just speed. They learned relentlessly. They practiced without seeking praise. They reflected. They refined. And they repeated even when no one was watching. They prioritized their health, built their independence, trusted that the quiet work would one day speak louder than any words. Your choice is now, and now you face the same choice. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because if you wait for motivation, you'll spend your life waiting. But if you start today, even small, even imperfect, you'll wake up months from now standing on ground you once only dreamed of reaching. So take 1 hour, one deliberate, sacred, disciplined hour. Guard it, honor it, shape it, and watch as it slowly, inevitably reshapes you. If this episode gave you something to think about, something to act on, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment below on Stoic Wisdom Today. Tell us, what will you dedicate your 1 hour to starting today? Because your future self isn't waiting for a miracle. They're waiting for you to start. Thank you for joining me on Stoic Wisdom Today. Until next time, stay focused, stay disciplined, and own your hours.